you are here to sell toys. Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to an all-new Talkin Movies. As always, I am your host, the real Geno Reynolds, and today we're going to be talking about a movie that not a lot of people thought was going to happen, but here we are, Toy Story 4, because Disney has toys to sell. Look, I'm kidding, but I mean, let's be honest. Part of this movie is about marketing, and if you go to the toy aisle, you can see what I'm talking about. I'll do my best to be as spoiler-free as possible because, number one, this being a Pixar film, this movie does have some heart, and it does have some story elements that I don't want to ruin for people. And number two, I've mentioned the rabid mouse before, and I could get in a lot of trouble if I spoil certain parts of this movie. So I'm going to tiptoe lightly around some of the plot points. What this movie is about, it takes place right before Bonnie, who is the kid that Andy gave us toys to at the end of part 3, she's about to go to kindergarten and she's really scared. And she's not allowed to take a toy to school, yet Woody, doing his duty, is like, we need to watch after her, and he goes to school with her. And at school, she's really scared, but it's arts and crafts time, and she creates a toy. That would be, as you've seen in the trailers and everything, that would be Forky. And all of a sudden, Forky comes to life. Later on, Forky becomes the new favorite toy, even though he doesn't even understand he's a toy. He thinks he's trash, and there is a big running joke about that. And the family goes on a road trip, and Forky gets lost. We'll say lost. And it's up to Woody and friends to find him. And not only do they have to deal with their future in this plot, but they also have to deal with the past. First things first, I will say this. This movie, the main focus, even though this movie has a lot of different focuses, the main focus is definitely Woody. It is mainly Woody's story. You could say, as usual, Buzz Lightyear is his second. Buzz Lightyear is in about maybe half the movie. And then this is something that bothered me. A lot of the established toys, they're in it, but they're not in it very much. They get little bits and pieces of things to do here and there, but most of the focus is on Forky and a lot of the other new toys. But mainly, though, this is still Woody's story, and a lot of the plot revolves around him and him trying to find Forky and convince him that he's an important toy and things like that. This movie also does give us an answer on what happened to Bo Peep. They mentioned, I believe it was in part 3, where something had happened to Bo Peep, and she's not in the movie. I think she's just, I don't even remember if they show her, but I know they mention her and everyone's kind of sad. Well, you get to see what happens to Bo Peep, and then that story is part of the main plot. So when it comes to the story itself, again, there's a lot of things going on. The family's on the road trip. Forky is missing. You have the Bo Peep story. You have the story of the movie's quote-unquote villain, Gabby the doll, wanting something from Woody. There's just all sorts of different story elements going on here, and I almost felt like there was too many. And if I have to say I would cut one of the stories, it would be Forky. Look, Forky, first of all, look, I love Tony Hale, and the character's not terrible, but the character is there only to move the plot along. I don't know if I've ever seen a character who is so unimportantly important. It's the only way I can put it. He's only there to move the whole story forward, and he's not really much of a character. He does a little bit here and there. He does have his moments, but really he's there to have things happen to him so all the other toys can go to where they're supposed to go. And so I wasn't the biggest fan of Forky. I also wasn't a big fan of Bunny and Ducky. That is Keenan, Michael Key, and Jordan Peele's characters. While I did find some of the stuff they did funny, their jokes were either repetitive or it's one of those jokes that's like, you know the punchline, but they make you wait for it. There it is. And it is kind of funny, but it's repetitive. So I wasn't the biggest fan of that. When it came to new characters, though, my favorite had to be Duke Kaboom. And that is the Canadian stunt motorcycle driver, voiced by Keanu Reeves. I just love the character. I mean, but then again, I'm just a big Keanu Reeves fan. And while he did create this character and he did play this character phenomenally, there's also bits and pieces of Keanu Reeves in there. There was a couple scenes that's like, that's Keanu Reeves. And I really like that. When it came to the villain, as I mentioned, Gabby, she is creepy. Okay, here's the thing. Christina Hendricks voices this role. And she is just so calm and nice that it's creepy. While I thought whenever she's playing the bad guy, she did a good job. In a way, it's one of those characters that it's like you have a feeling that there's an easy solution to the problem, and you kind of know where the story's going to go. And I had a hunch where it was going to go, and it pretty much went that way, which I was fine with. That being said, because honestly, it plays along with one of the mantras of the whole Toy Story franchise, and if I said it, you'd know kind of how it ended. So I can't really say which one it is, but it goes along with one of the mantras that they've always preached in these Toy Story movies. That's where her character arc goes. Her slappy, the dummy-looking henchmen are creepy, of course. You know, there's like 3 or 4 of them, and they're pretty creepy, and they're all in this antique shop, and that's where you find some of the toys, like Duke Kaboom. There's also a lot of nods to other toy lines. There's the Combat Carl line, which are basically G.I. Joes. There's a few Disney Easter eggs in the movie when it comes to toys. One of them was really cool. They go into this room where there's all these different toys, and there was one that just brought back my childhood. Again, I can't say what it is without ruining it. So that was a cool moment. As a story as a whole, this movie works really well. Again, there were some things that could have been taken out of it. The Forky storyline, like I said, he's important, but he's not important. You have to have him to move the plot along, because the girl created him, and now he's the favorite toy, and she's lost him, but you could have took it out, or if you would have took it out, the plot wouldn't move along. The story of Gabby, not really necessary. I think you could have told a compelling story with everything else. Again, though, I like that part of the story with where it went, and it was creepy when she was the bad guy, you know, and just as the story goes along, again, there's easier solutions than the way things are going during the plot earlier in the movie. Again, I'm a little disappointed that a lot of the more established toys kind of got the shaft. They just, like I said, they get bits and pieces here. And I would have liked to have had more of the established people. I mean, I know they had to use archive voice acting from Don Rickles for Mr. Potato Head, but I mean, you had pretty much everybody else. So, I mean, I would have liked more of them instead of some of the newer toys, especially Bunny and Ducky. Honestly, you could have probably done without those characters. I liked the story that they told with Woody and Bo Peep and what they're doing with that. And I will say this, with the movie as a whole, a lot of people thought part 3 was the end, and you could have ended it at part 3 because it was the end of the Andy arc, right? But I could honestly see them, after seeing this one, continuing with the Bonnie arc. And the reason I can see that is, and I can't really say the plot itself, but there's things that happen at the end of this movie that would warrant another movie, because kids ask questions. Where is this? What happened to that? Kids would ask questions with what happened at the end of this movie. And though they do jump a little bit ahead at the end, and they kind of tease more, there's a couple of storylines that I could see coming back together in another movie. And unlike after seeing part 3, where I thought this is a fitting end, I would honestly like to see them go forward now with the story that they told and with the plots that, in a way, again, with kids asking questions, with the plots that got left open. That being said, that would mean more Forky, but you know, I enjoy the characters of Woody and Buzz, and I love Rex, and of course we got Duke Kaboom now, and he's awesome. Speaking of Duke Kaboom, you know how they show the Pixar logo and the lamp comes out and squashes the eye and looks at the screen? Well, during the credits, there's stuff that happens that, again, would probably warrant another movie. But at the end of the credits, the Pixar logo is different. And it involves Duke Kaboom, and it's a payoff to a joke that is set up way early in the movie. And the payoff is fantastic. It got cheers from the crowd I was in, and I dug it because it's just a really cool payoff. I can't really say what it is because it's too good of a payoff. It's a simple payoff, but it's a fantastic one, and it makes perfect and total sense with the toys involved. So anyway, I would really recommend this movie, and again, I wouldn't mind seeing a part 5 now. Again, 3 would have been a fitting end, but with the story they're telling now, there's more stories to be told, and after seeing it, I'm more than fine with it. Is this a perfect movie? No, because, again, a lot of the well-known characters got pushed to the wayside so they could introduce new characters to sell new toys. But some of those characters are good. Some of them aren't so good, but hey, I liked what they gave us. This is a really good movie, and I do recommend it. That's going to be all for this edition of Talkin Movies. If you like what you've heard here, please subscribe to the Real Geno YouTube channel, like this video, and you have anything to say about this movie or any of the Toy Story franchise, please feel free to leave a comment in the section below. Until next time, I'm your host, the Real Geno, Geno Reynolds. See you later.